Hey, I'm back. And I know y'all told me last time not to show the classes every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Y'all got to do the math to figure out what it is in your time zone. Somebody asked me what time is it in Africa. I don't know. I don't live in Africa. Oh, I'm so glad that it's helpful. The other thing, so these after hour conversations, I don't put this part on YouTube where I'm just sitting here answering questions. I don't put this part on YouTube. Oh, somebody requested to join. Yes, wine time. So if y'all also don't know, wine is also, I could probably teach a class on wine as much as I could teach a class on emotional intelligence. So I also have a wine education business. So wine is like really my thing. If you look at my YouTube videos, my podcast, like I always have a glass of wine. Yeah, so you can go back and watch wine is like really, like you should see my wine collection downstairs. So tonight I am drinking a Tanat. Well, I heard I'm not supposed to show you guys the bottle. But it's a Tanat that I got when I was in France last year. So it's a red wine. So you said come move to California. So believe it or not, I don't really like domestic wines. I don't really like domestic wines. So California wines are not my favorite. I prefer Italian wines. This is from, I don't know where this one is from. I got this one when I was in France last year. But Tanat is usually an Argentinian wine. Books about your childhood trauma. So the book that I recommended last week, Growing Yourself Back Up. I was looking for my copy. Is it in a box? I've been packing stuff. But I thought I showed y'all that book last week, didn't I? That is a childhood trauma book that I would recommend. I thought I had it. It must be in a box. Let me see. I'll just have to show you the picture of it. Kez said, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents is also a great book. So that is a book. So I actually been working on a book list for y'all. I just didn't put it up yet. So your issues about being blunt. So yeah, I used to have that problem, right? I'm from Philly and I'm an attorney. So I still say things pretty bluntly. I actually just had to apologize to somebody on TikTok because when I went back to read my response, like my comment, I was like, oh my God, it sounded horrible. And like I had to apologize, like, oh no, I really meant it. Like I wasn't being smart. So bluntness is something that I also have to work on. So with the bluntness, you have to temper it depending on who you're talking to. Like I said, I have some friends that I could say, why the F would you do that? And I have some that I cannot. All right. And so I think in terms of being emotionally intelligent and being gentle with people, you got to just figure out how to not be so blunt. It might be your word choice. You might have to add flowery language, which I don't usually like to do. But yeah, you gotta. So can you give me an example of like being blunt? And you also, I think the other thing is just if you keep in mind the other person and trying to make sure that you're saying things with care because you don't want to hurt them. I think those are other things that help me to stop being so blunt. I mean, so here's the thing. So getting straight to the point is not necessarily a bad thing. Not acknowledging how they feel. So yeah, no. You have to make sure that you are choosing words that, they can be receptive of. I think the other thing with bluntness, sometimes with blunt people, I have to tell them just because it's true doesn't mean it needs to be said. being blunt with another blunt person. So yeah, just because it's true doesn't mean it needs to be said. Right, you got to work on what is the point of this. So like I tell people, like, so sometimes my friends will send me what they want to say to somebody else, and they be like, is this okay? And I had to tell them, like, take this out, take that out, don't say it like this, say it like this, right? Because you got to think about, what is the point of this conversation? Why are you saying this? If you're saying it just to be mean or just to jab at somebody, take it out. So I think there's a difference between being blunt and being truthful. If it is the truth and it's something that they need to hear, yes. But again, just because it's true doesn't mean it needs to be said. So you have to figure out why you're saying this. What is the point of this? Is it really going to help us reach our goal? You get your messages proofread all the time. Yeah, and I still have to do it because I know that as much as I try, right, especially like I think part of it comes from being a lawyer, right? They teach us not to write with a bunch of flowery language, right? They teach us to write straight and to the point. And so obviously that is usually how I communicate all the time. Yes, so I teach emotional intelligence 101 every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Class is about an hour, and then I usually stick around. So this part is not technically part of the class, but I'm still here. So you don't have to verbalize it all, even if it's hurtful. Because there are some things that you cannot take back. You can't unring a bell. And so a lot of times when I am working with people, and especially couples, we can work through the issue, but what I can't help with is I can't help with what the person said when they were angry. It's aggressive. Yeah, it's just going to y'all got to just practice and figure out a better, is this nice or is it, But communication is one of those things, for sure. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So advice on how to take workplace conflict, not personally. So can you give me an example? What is it that happened at work that you take personal? Good night, Nico. Thanks for hanging out. And I need to ask y'all some other questions about the community, but D, tell me what happened at work, or what was the example? Yep, let me know and then we can talk about it. So what if, Talia, you said, what if they ask about the truth, but then you feel like your truth is judgment? So it depends on what they are asking me about. I don't typically give my opinion to people. Like when people come, thanks for the rose, me poo. When people are asking for your opinion, they don't really want your opinion, FYI. They just want you to validate how they're feeling. So very, 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 very rarely do I give my opinion to people. I will only give my opinion if it's one of my really, really close friends and I know that they are lying to themselves. But other than that, I don't give my opinion. What I think does not matter. It's about what you think and what you're going to do about the situation. So I also don't want you to feel like do what I said and then that wasn't the right decision and you done screwed your life up. You won't blame me? So yeah, I don't usually offer my opinion. Good night. Yes, just validate their delusion. Can you give me an example of what they're being delusional about? Okay, you want to be honest with your friend about her behavior, but she's super sensitive to criticism. Okay. And so tell me more about the behavior. Is this behavior that is going to harm her and put her in a bad predicament? Or is this a situation that maybe you just don't agree with? For an example, is this something like substance abuse, or are they sleeping around? If it's something like substance abuse, I would say something. If they're sleeping around, I would not say anything. What should you do if your disgust for your best friend's husband has changed your opinion of her? Nothing. That's not your business. All you can do is support her. Yep. Why wouldn't you do anything? So here's the thing, right? Let me put my glass down for this. People have to learn lessons on their own. This is why I tell people that you shouldn't take advice from people. One, they don't really want it. Like I said, they want you to validate how they are feeling. Two, I think the best friendships, the best relationships is when there is support, regardless of what that person is doing, regardless of if you support that person or not. If they get to the other side, they will appreciate you showing up, right? So just let me give you a different example in a different way. If you have ever had a friend, or if you have a friend that you can talk to them about anything and they won't judge you. Doesn't matter how crazy you might be being. It doesn't matter how depressed you are being, but you have this one person that you can go to for anything. They're not going to judge you, and they're going to support you. Right? That is what love is. It's supporting the person. Again, I'm not talking about they're trying to harm themselves. If it's just behavior that you don't agree with, you got to mind your business. They have to go through that. Now, what you can do is, if they truly care, right? So one of my closest friends, so I am fortunate that, right, my friends are like awesome. But out of 6, 3 are therapists. So I'm pretty blessed. But one thing I learned from one of my therapist friends, like one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, what she asked me is, what were you trying to get out of that? And automatically I know that she's trying to say that, right, my behavior is not aligning with the things that I say that I want. But she would never say, why would you do that? I have friends that would say that, and so I don't talk to them about everything, right? And that's not necessarily what you want from a friend. Right? You want your friend to feel like they can talk to you about any and everything. I have friends that I cannot, and I don't. And of course, that affects our relationship. Right? That same friend has said, I have been on FaceTime with that friend, but around other friends. And I was having conversations with my other friends about things that I did not share with this person. And she felt some type of way. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't I tell you? You the same person that not the last person, when I told you about somebody, a guy, your response was, he ugly. What? It was a good thing that you're not dating him. Right? So you have to be careful about giving your opinion and all of that, because you are invalidating their experience. You aren't supporting their experience. And what that's going to do is make them feel like unheard and that they can't talk to you. So how can you tell if you're using intuition, discernment, and not just emotion. So emotion doesn't necessarily mean that it's not intuition or it's not discernment, right? Again, I tell you, your emotions are messengers. They're telling you something. But what I tell people is, give me facts to back it up. Intuition and discernment is not usually based off of nothing. There is usually something there that makes you feel like. Your emotions are there to tell you something. But I make people tell me, give me the facts, not the feelings, to back it up. How do you work with anger? So journaling is really one of my favorite ways to deal with my emotions. Write everything out. What are you angry about? What about this upsets you? And what needs to be different? Don't hold it in. You just got to find a safe space to let it out. All right, and that's another thing. So people have still been commenting on the reflection question from last week that asked you if you had a safe space to express your emotions, what would you allow yourself to feel? What have you been ignoring or suppressing, right? And so one thing that I've noticed is that people say, I wish I could be vulnerable, or I wish I could be sad or angry, but I don't have anybody to talk to. And not having somebody to talk to and expressing your emotions are two different things. You have to know for yourself what it is your emotions are telling you. You have to know for yourself how to deal with these emotions, even if you don't have anybody to share them with. That's okay. That's a separate thing. Yes, it is good to have somebody, but just because you don't feel like you have somebody that you can be angry towards or express these emotions doesn't mean that you don't give yourself the space and the grace to experience them. Right? This is why we're talking so much about self-awareness, because you have to understand what it is you're feeling. You have to understand, how do you let these things out? It has to start with you. It has to be a you thing. You said, question, why are they still my friends? The person that I said I don't feel like I could talk to them about everything. If that's what you, Shanti B, is that what you mean? Shanti B? Yes, because just because I can't talk to her about everything doesn't mean that she doesn't serve other purposes for me. I just don't talk to her about my relationships. I'll tell her like once I'm in an actual relationship, but she doesn't do well with like, oh, I just met a new guy. So here's the other thing, right? Like, I don't keep people around for a long time. And so she gets sick of hearing about a new person. Not that it's often, but I could tell my friends about somebody that may be going in 2 weeks, and that gets on her nerves. So I just don't tell her. That's another reason. And just because I can't talk to her about that one specific area of my life does not mean that I can't talk to her about other things, and doesn't mean we don't have other connections, right? Your friends serve different purposes. Like, you have different people in your life for different things, depending on the response I want. If I want to know if I'm about to make a bad decision, depending on the response I want, I already know the answer. I already know who's going to give me what answer, so I go to the person that's going to give me the answer I want to hear. So yeah, she's still a good friend. There are just certain things that I can't talk to her about. There was another question. How do you navigate through emotions to make sound decisions? Y'all are getting ahead in the lessons. But since you're here, I will tell you how you process your emotions. So the first thing you got to do is identify what it is that you are feeling. The second thing that you need to do is identify the trigger. What made you feel like this? Okay. The other thing that you need to do, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Once you figure out what they are trying to tell you, ask yourself, is this a me, them, or us problem? Okay. Once you figure out if it's a me, them, or us, and let's say it does involve the other person, you need to know what you need to be different moving forward. So that when you go to your person to talk to them, you have already processed it. You already know what the issue is. You already know what you need the solution to be. And then when you go and talk to them, you can use my magic sentence. Okay? So so we need to I don't know why this is always my example, but I like, what's the show? Married at First Sight. I like that show. And I always think about this one episode. I can't remember the people's name at this point. But what happened in the episode is, right, they're married. The husband went to go play basketball. He left while she was asleep. So when she woke up, he wasn't there. When he came back, she was engaging in passive-aggressive behaviors. He like, something seemed off. You okay? She lied. I'm fine. Boom. When they sat down to talk to Pastor Cal, what came up was she had an issue that he left the house without saying anything to her. All right? So she had an issue that he left the house. That was the trigger. What it really made her feel was abandoned. Why? Because her dad had passed away. And so she still had not dealt with that. And so waking up and her husband being gone stirred up, it triggered some abandonment issues for her. Okay? So, for her, had she used her emotional intelligence, she would have recognized that him leaving without saying anything made her feel abandoned, because I think something similar happened to her dad. Like her dad went to the store and never came back. I think that was something like that, right? Similar situation. It was a trigger for her. However, if she was emotionally intelligent, she would recognize that, okay, I felt abandoned. I was afraid that he wasn't going to make it back home. And so is this a me, them, or us problem in this situation? It was a them problem, right? She was feeling abandoned. He left without saying anything. And so what she should have did, instead of saying I'm fine and being passive aggressive, if she'd have used my magic sentence, she would have said, I felt abandoned, or I felt abandoned and scared when you left the house without saying anything on Saturday or this morning, whenever she had this conversation with him. Moving forward, can you let me know before you leave the house? If I'm asleep, can you text me before you leave? Problem averted. Right? So when you go to your person, again, we're going to talk about this later on. So y'all getting ahead of yourselves. But when you take time to process things on yourself, like I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is going to talk to somebody too soon. Because when you are in that emotional state, right, when you are still consumed with your emotions, you cannot be emotional and logical at the same time. The brain doesn't allow it, right? I've showed you guys the brain picture. You can't be emotional and logical at the same time. And so when you go to talk to somebody, when you're consumed with your emotions, you're going to just react out of emotions. And, right, that's, you know that if you have ever had to go back and like think about what somebody said and was like, damn, they was right. How much time do we give it? It depends on you. Everybody's different. I can't tell you how much time your emotions need. That's something that you're going to have to pay attention to, and you'll start to recognize. And so some emotions may bother you more than others. Me, I can still be angry and still talk to you because I've I've addressed the situation, that doesn't mean I'm not angry anymore. That means I still need time for the anger to leave my body, but I don't express it because I've had the conversation. Yeah, you get consumed with your emotions more than you thought. Yeah, and so I think there's quite a few reasons why people get stuck there. I think part of the reason that we get stuck in the emotion, one, I think sometimes we judge our emotions. Right? Think about if you break up with somebody, and you miss them. Instead of allowing yourself to grieve that person, you try to ignore it because I don't miss him. I'm cool. I feel dumb for missing him. Don't feel dumb. You are still grieving this person. Everything in a relationship wasn't bad. Especially if y'all were like really locked in and y'all lived together or y'all spent every day together. That's going to be an adjustment. You're grieving that relationship. And so I think part of the reason, or sometimes why people get stuck in their emotions, because they're judging themselves for having such emotions. So don't do that. I think another reason that people get stuck in their emotions is that they don't take the time to process and understand what their emotions are trying to tell them. So they just have this feeling and they don't take time to process it and think about what needs to be different. And so when you don't think about what needs to be different, you're just going to end up in the same situation again, just with a different person, because you didn't learn your lesson. All right, and so again, yes, I'm telling you to experience your emotion. Give yourself permission and space and grace to feel them. Sometimes, and so I actually had somebody email me that him and his girlfriend just broke up, and he was asking me, what should he do? And my response was cry. Like, that's what you should do. You should cry. Like, you have to give your, like, you don't have to jump right away into figuring out what they're trying to tell you. Sometimes you just got to cry. And so, like, when I'm in that space, I tell my friends I'm not in the space to hear it yet. What is this hair doing? Right? That's another thing with your partner. Like, you have to understand when your partner is in a space to hear what you have to say. If they are not, what you're saying is going in one ear, not the other, and probably annoying them. You got to make sure they're in the right space to hear what you have to say. All right? Do you have the capacity to listen to me right now? Or are we still angry, right? You could be angry. You just lost your job. Be pissed off. In a couple days, we could talk about what you're going to do for work. But right now, be sad, be angry, all of that. When people do not allow you to love them, do you think they realize that it's a form of rejection? Probably not. Well, they might. The issue is their need for safety is more of a priority to them than you feeling rejected. Right? I talked about this in that video today, right? If you are the person that does not open up, so either it's you or your partner, right? Most people that do not open up, it is a coping mechanism, right? They're trying to keep themselves safe. Either you have done something to make them feel like they cannot open up or be safe or trust you, or they're projecting a past experience onto you where somebody else made them feel like they couldn't open up and be safe or trust them, or somebody else used it against them, right? And that's a real thing. But what I said in the video is that you also have to be mindful that while you are trying to keep yourself safe, your partner feels rejected. Because two things can be true at once. Yes, you're trying to keep yourself safe, and the implications of that is your partner feels rejected. And so sometimes they may recognize it, but whether they do or not, the priority for them is keeping themselves safe. Absolutely, putting me first. So if you feel unheard, you would say, I feel unheard whenever you cut me off before I finish my sentence. Can you please let me finish before you respond? Got to add that part. You got to tell them what it is you need them to do. How do you reassure them that you're a safe space? I mean, I think you just have to tell them, like, you know, I would never use anything against you. I would ask, what are they afraid of? And I would ask, have I done anything to make you feel like I wouldn't? And when they do start to share, I think this part is important. When they do finally open up and start to share, even if it's something little, thank them. Thank you for sharing that with me. I know it wasn't easy. Thank you for trusting me with that. Even if it's something little, like, I don't know, that doesn't seem that big of a deal. Like if they share something that happened at work, even though you really want them to tell you about how their childhood trauma is affecting you, start small. Let them know that you know, it's like not petting a dog on the back, but, you know, positive reinforcement, right? Thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate you trusting me with that. And I think they will start to open up. So you said keeping yourself safe and causing them to feel what feeling. So I think it depends on what the behavior is. So if you are shutting down and not opening up and talking to them, it can make them feel like you don't trust them. It can make them feel like you're not in it for the long haul. Because why else wouldn't you open up to me? If you don't trust me enough to open up, maybe this is a temporary thing for you. It could it be a thing of rejection? I think it depends on kind of what the situation is, but it is going to depend. Oh, thank you. This is actually my first time wearing it just for you. I think that's a great response. You told somebody you were upset with them and they responded with what they can do. That's awesome. I think another thing that you can do is, that's great that the person that you were talking to asked you, but it might be even better to tell them, like, all in one breath why you're upset and what you would like to be different, just in case they maybe they don't know to ask. You left the conversation because you thought they should know what to do? Is that what you're saying, CM? Thanks for joining me, guys, for EQ After Hours. Good night. I will see you next week. Shantastic. Okay. How would they know what you need? So, over-explain is subjective, right? Which is why I like to use the magic sentence. That gets people out of, good night, Tanja B. That gets people out of this space. You feel like they should know. But what if they really don't? But it depends, Key, right? Sometimes you do have to tell people, because here's the thing. It's not about telling people how to adult. It's telling people how to treat you specifically. And every adult is different. Every person is different, right? Emotions and feelings are subjective. Her response, her friend saying, what can they do? Is that rude? I don't think that was rude. If you say, I'm upset with you, and they say, what can I do to make it better? I don't think that's rude. Is that what you're asking me? So the magic question is, I felt like, whatever the emotion is, when you did, you got to be specific. Moving forward, can you, whatever the corrective behavior. So somebody said that they told their friend today that they felt upset. And I was saying I would have taken it a step further and said, I felt upset, or even get more specific. I was sad. I was angry. When you did whatever, moving forward, can you do X, Y, and Z? Because I don't know that you can assume that people know what you need. And even if they do, I think how much trouble is it to tell them again? Right, that was your opportunity. If they said, what can I do to help? Tell them. If they say, what can they do? Would that be rude? I don't think that's rude. They're asking you what you need. Because CM said she told somebody that she was upset, and they're asking, well, what can I do? I don't think that's rude. What if they say, I misunderstood their intentions? So what I teach people is, don't defend your action. You're apologizing for how you made them feel, not your action. So defending yourself and explaining your action actually is a way to dismiss and invalidate people's experience. So you guys know, because you're in my class, so you won't defend your actions. You'll just apologize. You can say, that's fine if I misinterpreted, but it still made me feel this way. So what if it upsets you to the point where you don't want to continue the relationship? Were they aware of the boundary? And so, I mean, if it's a hard pass for you, like that is a hard boundary. Even if you haven't explained it to them, I think you should. But let's say this is a hard boundary and they've crossed it. I think you have the right to say, I don't want to do this anymore because this is a hard boundary for me. You can say that. I would hope that you at least you have told them about the boundary ahead of time. But if that's a boundary, that's a boundary. Why is it so hard to communicate your own feelings? What are you afraid of? What do you think is going to happen if you communicate your feelings? Are you afraid that they are not going to validate your feelings or your experience? Are you afraid that they are going to reject what you have to say? What is it that you are afraid of that's keeping you from expressing your emotions? Yeah, it's always rejection or confrontation. And if you use that sentence, there is no confrontation, because I'm telling you how I feel, right? Using I statements, keep the focus on how it made you feel and exactly what you want them to do moving forward. There is no confrontation. All right, going back to the example I was just given. I felt abandoned when you left the house without saying something on Saturday or this morning. Next time or moving forward, can you text me before you leave the house? All I can say is yes or no. No confrontation. You tell them exactly what you need. Conflict, argument avoided. Oh, I'm glad it's helping you. Key, vulnerability. You don't like to be vulnerable. So I think that goes back to the conversation we were having earlier. You have to make sure that the person that you are talking to and that you're trying to be vulnerable with is a safe space. That is the thing. But if this is your person and y'all locked in, vulnerability, it has to be a part of this if it's going to be a healthy relationship. And so what's the fear in being vulnerable? Are you afraid that they're going to use it against you? Are you afraid that they're not going to, you got to get to the root of it. And then what would make you feel safe or comfortable opening up? Right? So I told y'all the example I gave y'all, the guy that I was dating, and he said it wasn't helpful that every time he brought something to me, I jumped straight into solution mode. He said he didn't like that. And so I asked him, what would you rather I do? And he said, just to, acknowledge it, like, oh, I'm sorry. And this is what I kind of learned through that experience. People typically respond the way they want you to respond to them. Because after he said that, and he just wants me to say, oh, I'm sorry you experienced it, or oh, I'm sorry you are going through that, I recognize that is the way that he responds to me when I'm sharing with him. But I don't give a shit about I'm sorry you feel that way. right? And this is not a situation between me and him, right? Oh, I'm stressed out and I'm just sharing my issues with him, or this happened in the business, or this happened over here, and I'm just sharing with him, right? That's the situation I'm talking about. And so when he would share with me, I jumped straight into, so what we gonna do about it? Will this help? Will that help? And he said he didn't like it. He wants me to just say, oh, I'm sorry you're going through that. And I thought about it. Oh, that's what he says to me, even though I don't give a that you sorry that I'm going through. That don't help me. I need a solution, right? The way that I respond to people is how I want people to respond to me. So that's another thing. Like, so the way that people typically communicate with you is how they want you to communicate with them. So that's a good tip that I learned from him. Like, I don't give a, oh, I'm sorry you went through that. It doesn't help me. I need a solution. Like, what I'm going to do about it? Help me brainstorm. Help me be my sounding board. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, I do it. Like, we're still cool. Like, we don't talk like that. But he actually called me the other day. I didn't answer. And so now I make sure I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. All right. So you got to figure out what it is that will make you feel comfortable. Okay, the comment from Missy Barbie. Let me see. Did I miss it? When people tell me I'm sorry, you feel like that it feels like a non-apology. So in this situation that I'm talking about, because the situation did not involve him, it was nothing I needed him to apologize for. He was just saying, like, so let's say I was sad because I'm lonely or whatever. He was like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. It was more of that situation. It wasn't him apologize. He didn't do anything to me that he needed to apologize for. Is that the comment you guys were talking about? So you said you apologize for hurting them and then try to explain what happened from my point of view. So don't explain. I won't say don't explain, but I would apologize and leave it at that. Because sometimes your point, when you try to explain, you are trying to invalidate their experience. Like, even though you don't mean to, that is the result of it. It doesn't matter why you did something, right? There's a difference between impact versus intent. You could have very well meant your actions. What you did not mean is how it made that person feel. And that's the part that you need to apologize for, period. No explaining, no invalidating their experience. Whether you understand, whether you get it or not. If somebody says, hey, when you did this, it made me feel like this. Your actions could have been intentional. What was not intentional was how it made them feel. And that's what you got to apologize for. Full stop. How can you tell if a person is just attached to you because you nurture an unhealed part of them? I don't know that you can. Because that could be, I mean, I'm sure that's not the only reason, but that could be what they genuinely appreciate about you. And so the question is whether or not you're okay with that and whether or not your needs are also being met. But I don't know that it's necessarily wrong to want to be with somebody because they help with the area of growth that you have. It's just, are you also able to meet their needs? Now that's the part. So yes, these after hours help because I'm answering your questions. A lot of this stuff will be classes moving forward, but because you guys are asking, I'm answering your question. You think that they may take advantage and you may crash out. Have they given you a reason to believe that they're going to take advantage of you? Right? So when these situations, when people are afraid to open up, they are usually projecting a previous experience. Right? The person in front of them has not done anything. They're making this person suffer for things that other people have done, and you got to work on that. Start with small things. Share small, see how they respond to you over little things. See how they respond if you say you don't feel good. See how they respond. So I'll give you guys another example. This one is a little bit funny. But I had met this guy. I met this guy, and immediately he was referring to himself as Zaddy. Like, first conversation. Yeah, this is Zaddy. This is who? My father is in Philadelphia. Yeah, this Daddy. I don't know if he was saying Daddy or Zaddy. He might have been using them interchangeably. But literally, he would talk about himself in third person. He always referred to himself as Daddy. And I'm like, I don't even remember his name. Oh, I do know his name, but everything was, yeah, Daddy this because Daddy that. And I'm like, well, one, why are you referring to yourself as Daddy? And why are you talking to yourself about yourself in third person? But whatever. But what happened is he's calling himself Daddy, 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 Daddy. And one of these days, he was only around for like 2 days. But my dishwasher broke, right? And my dishwasher broke, and I wasn't feeling well. So he did say, like, I'm sorry you weren't feeling well, but he didn't say anything about the dishwasher. Nothing at all. You can't be Daddy and you didn't even acknowledge that my dishwasher is not working. And so it's not even the fact that, not that I expected him to pay or to get it fixed or anything. He didn't even offer any solutions. And so what that showed me is, if I have a problem, you're not the person that's going to come and help. Anybody else, any of my other guy friends, even that's not even like on that level, just a guy friend, I'm like, oh, my dishwasher not working. Immediately, did you try this? Did you think about this? Did you try this? Did you try that? Did you try this? Checked on me. Did you get it working? Right? Those are signs that somebody's going to have your back. If I say my dishwasher is not working and it's crickets, right, that is an indication that you're not going to have my back. Right? So pay attention to the things that the people do and how they treat you. Even if it's not about something deep that you're opening up about. Do they ask you about your day? Are they asking you about things that you're interested in? Are they asking you about work? Are they engaging in conversation with you? Right? These are the things to look for to know whether or not you can open up and talk to somebody. Like, you got to start small. Even if you, I don't know, think of a story from the past that you tell every guy. Thank you, Jamila. All right, think about it. Something small. Oh yeah, this happened. See how they respond to you. I told y'all last week, I was talking to this guy, and this is when I was just starting therapy, and I was just learning that it was okay to not be okay, and that it was okay to cry. And I told him I need emotional support. He said, "What does that look like?" And I said, "Sometimes I just need to cry." He said, "I'm not gonna let you cry." What? Like, he literally said out his mouth, "I'm not gonna let you cry." See you later, bye. Right? So you got to pay attention to the things that the person do. Like, it doesn't always have to be you try out with something that is, something traumatic from your past. Like, you don't always have to start there. Pay attention to how they treat you in general. Right? The right person will make you feel comfortable enough to open up. But vulnerability has to be a part of a healthy relationship. What about when someone constantly blocks you during argument? Like, y'all talking via text message and they block you? Is that what you mean? So this guy expressed his feelings about me. He was upset that I didn't express the same. Did you not express how you feel at all, or you didn't have the same feelings? Cynthia. Exactly, Talia. Zaddy should have had some coins or some tools, or at least some recommendations. At least you could have said, "Did you try this? Did you try that?" Like, let me know that you know how to problem solve. Zaddy ain't had nothing to say. Was he old? No, we was the same age. So he was, how old am I? 36. I think we was the same age. No, he wasn't old at all. But literally everything was there. And then, so this was the last straw. He actually blocked me, y'all, with Zaddy. And then I'm going to get back to y'all questions. So I'm like, I'll call you back. I got to try to fix. Mind you, I'm out down there being Bob Lena the Builder. I'm taking stuff apart, the pipes apart, taking the dishwasher apart, like really trying to fix it. And so he called me back and he was like, he was asking like, what was I doing the next day? I'm like, I mean, just working. What's up? And he was like, well, can you work from home? So here's the thing. You've never asked me what I do to know that I work from home every single day. Another sign that you never asked me what I did. You never, like, you would know that I already work from home. So he like, well, can you work from home tomorrow? And I'm like, well, I work from home every day. Well, can you come work from Zaddy's house? I said, well, no, I don't want to come work from your house, but I can come meet you for lunch, or we can go to breakfast or happy hour. But I don't want to come work from your house. You heard what I said. I said, do you want to come work from Zaddy's house tomorrow? No, I don't want to work from your house. Y'all, he hung up on me. And so me being me, I'm thinking just the call failed. So I called back. He answered. And so I text him like, did you hang up on me? And my message turned green. And I said, oh, well, I guess that was it. So yeah, that's how that ended. I run into some characters, yo. So I used to have a roster. I don't anymore. When is the class on getting back in the dating field? I need to go outside. I said I need to do that. I need to put myself around in the environments where I know the caliber of men that I like. I've been in a house and I know he's not gonna bring it. It just be, and so I have resulted to. He was not old. Thanks a lot, Legacy Lifeline lawyer. Oh, what happened? Okay. I feel like I was waiting somebody to clarify something. Zaddy better get out of my face. The class on getting back in the dating field. I feel like we just need to make a pact. Like, let's go outside one day. And then we got to come back and report when we go outside. Find an event to go to or something like that. Okay, Cynthia, you said you didn't have the same feeling. So this is a good point. So I think you said the guy expressed his feelings for you and you didn't feel the same way. So here's the thing with that. Sometimes we believe that people should feel the same exact way that we do. Right? Right? People are scared to say I love you first because they're scared that they're not going to say it back. Right? It's a thing about rejection. Right? He probably felt rejected. When what I tell people is that if you love somebody, tell them, right? Your love for them is not based on them loving you. It's based on how they treat you. But everybody doesn't see it that way. And so he might have felt rejected that you did not feel the same way. That's probably he probably felt rejected. And again, people always like, well, I'm not saying it first. What if they don't say it back? That shouldn't matter. Oh, I'm not posting him till he posts me. That shouldn't matter. You feel how you feel about the person. And so, I mean, did you not like him at all? Like, did you just be like, oh, thanks? I've been there too. Like, oh, thank you. Or did you at least say like, oh, I like you too? I mean, I hope you didn't say like, oh, I don't like you like me. So I don't really be having a roster because they don't be around for that long. Zaddy was only around for 2 days before he blocked me. Zaddy was in some marbles. And he was actually really handsome. I know they don't got nothing to do with it. But he was actually really handsome. I was like, dang. You ain't like him at all? So Tally, thank you, Jamila. So don't be scared to share the new you. So this is the thing. When people say like, "Oh, I'm scared of love," it's not that you're scared of love. You're scared of past pain, right? You're scared of repeating the same things. But all that means is that you don't trust yourself. Because if you trusted yourself, you would trust that the minute you recognize that this is not your person, the minute you recognize that this is not going to work for you, that you out of there. Right? Like, scared money don't make no money. You have to give yourself in order to experience the love that you probably want. You can't have the 1 foot in, 1 foot out, any of that. And if you're traumatized, that means you have not learned your lesson from the past, from your previous relationships. You have not taken the time to sit and process your past relationships. What is it that you liked about the relationship? What did you not like about the relationship? What do you want to be different next time? Right? And so when you take the time to do this and you have a game plan, you go out there. Like, I'm not scared to go out there and meet people. Right? Dating is about getting to know people. And when you realize this is not your person, see you later, bye. Every day until y'all find your man, go the F outside. I'm going to work on it. It's too cold. Catch you when the temperature goes up. Do you think we should share past traumas with our partners? I think that it will naturally come up in conversation. I think if you are asking the right question to understand your partner, it will come up. Yeah. So you just got to make sure that you're aware of what to look for, and really taking the time to understand your partner, right? Everybody is the sum of their experiences. And so if you are asking the right questions, you're going to learn about things. So I talked about this. I know I keep bringing up different guys, but they really be like spaced out for the most part, and they don't be around that long. But last week I was talking about how I met this guy, and the day we were supposed to go out, I found out that my dad had went to the hospital. So I texted him like, "Hey, I need to reschedule. I just found out my dad is in the hospital. I need to go to Philly." So at first he wrote back like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. No problem." But then he wrote back, "If I don't talk to you again, have a good life." Okay, that's fair, right? I mean, it's not fair, but some people could have been using that to get, to ghost them, even though this was only like 2 days after exchanging numbers, but whatever. There was something else that he said. So we ended up going out there Sunday, and I'm trying to remember what he said. But based on that message and whatever he said on Sunday, it prompted me to ask him, "What's your relationship with your mom?" And what I learned is that he doesn't have a relationship with his mom. He was taken away from her when he was little. She moved somewhere far. His grandparents raised him. She's been trying to rebuild a relationship. So you have to make sure that you are picking up on things. I could tell that he had an anxious attachment style. Right? And typically when somebody has an anxious attachment style, it's because there is a parent or a guardian that was not consistently in their life. I just took a wild guess to say that it was his mom, and I was absolutely right. So I think past traumas naturally come up in conversation. I think as you are explaining, I think especially as you guys hit rough patches and you are figuring out how to grow, or somebody identifies something that you do that maybe you're not aware of, and you had to take the time to think about why you do the things you do, or you're the way that you are, right? You may realize that some of that is connected to past trauma, and I think that is the great opportunity to explain, right? Like, "Oh, I didn't realize that this was a problem," or "I didn't realize that this was not the best way to handle this. I do it because of this experience growing up, but I'm going to work on it." All right, so I think past traumas is a natural thing that should come up in conversations. You wish you get attached too quick. So I think if that's the case, you got to put measures in place. What is it that you get attached to? Is it this feeling that somebody is interested in you, right? Lately I have been talking about like I need to feel needed, right? And so probably the minute I get somebody that I actually like, because that's the thing, to like really desire me, right? That's a feeling that I am looking for. So I think you got to figure out what is that you get attached to, like what is it that you feel like you're missing and that somebody can show you, and what measures can you put in place to kind of slow yourself down. You be too attached to leave. You can't get attached so quickly, right? And so here's the other thing. You also have to recognize that staying means that you're going to end up in a healthy relationship. And I don't know about y'all, but me, I got big feelings. And so I need to get out of there as quickly as possible before they get even bigger and hurt. And so I'm never afraid to see you later, bye, because I don't want my feelings to be hurt. Not you got shit on your face. Do you ever like at least smile or say hi to them first to let them know it's okay? I know that I walk around with a not so pleasant face. It's not on purpose, but I know that I do that. Oh wait, the comments jumped. Oh, I was just reading a comment and it went away. You're talking to someone for years, but they don't want to be with you long term because you're a parent. Did they tell you that up front? Mislead to you? Did they tell you up front that they didn't want to be with somebody because they had kids? What's the podcast? Magical Moment. What podcast are you referring to? Dating with Sense. Okay. I will look into that. Dating with Sense. So everybody go check that out. Yes, I told y'all that story last week. As an overthinker, you think sharing past traumas to run them away. It's only going to run the wrong person away. Right? I'm not saying share all of this on the first date. But as you guys are getting closer and you're locking in, I think that's when the past trauma comes up. I was just able to pick up on it quickly. Because I know, and I try to be people with anxious attachment style usually don't work for me because the constant need of reassurance and all of that, doesn't really work for my lifestyle. But I actually tried to give him a chance, but then it showed up real bad a couple days later. And so again, he had to disclose it because I asked. But I'm not saying like disclose this like first date. You can be guarded to some point once you know that it's a safe space to start opening up. Thanks for not judging me. So people prejudge you off your past. I don't trust it. So I think it depends on what you are sharing. So I do not talk about previous relationships with a new person. I don't talk about what happened in my previous relationships. None of that. No. But if it is still affecting you, right? If it impacts how you show up and relate to this person, I think that's when it's okay to share. And I think your person is not going to judge you. Right? So I another situation. This is not me this time, y'all. I had a consultation with a guy, and he had just broken up with his girlfriend. They seem to be from very different walks of life. He is more calm, laid back, works his 9 to 5. He cool, he chilling. She is a little bit wilder. She be outside. People have called him multiple times, like, yo, don't you talk to Shorty? She in this bar doing X, Y, and Z. And what happened? She told him that she thinks they need to take a break because he need to have a whole phase. And he like, I need to have a whole phase. Like, what? Like, you like me too much. What, girl? But whatever. So I'm just listening to him. So she told him that he needs to have a whole phase. He like her too much, whatever. And so he like, is that because you out here doing stuff? And she was like, well, it's people in my inbox. I haven't done anything, but we all know what that means. And so he was hurt by that. And part of his judgment and like how he was feeling, or her telling that, he was like, I've never judged anything that she has told me. All right, she had a history of molestation, and he was like, she told me all of that, and I never judged her. Like, I'm not holding any of that against her, right? And I said, so here's the thing. You are out here trying to prove to her that you're a good guy and that good guys still exist. One, that's not your job. I said, but here's the other thing. Even though you are not judging her past, which is a great thing, I said, you still have to be mindful of how that past is showing up. And it is clearly impacting your relationship. All right, and so there's some other things that he shared with me. But it seems to be that based on, her childhood trauma, her response to that is to be promiscuous. And I said, it's okay if you're not judging, but her lifestyle is a lot different than yours. You are not this wild, you don't live the same lifestyle. You are tired of your friends, or not even just friends, but people that you know calling you like Shorty is in the bar tripping. All right, and so I don't think that everybody is going to judge you, but I think there are times where, these things are important to understand your partner truly. And even if they decide that they don't want to be with you, I don't think that it is a judgment thing. I think it is this does not work for my lifestyle, or this does not work for the relationship that I want, because it is still now here's the difference, right? You can have your trauma, you can go to therapy, and it can no longer affect you. Cool. But if you have, so the guy that I was talking about, when I asked him his relationship with his mom, my next question was, have you been to therapy for it? And he had not. And so for a fact, I could tell you, and I knew because it showed up a few days later, that this is going to be a problem. And if this would become a thing, it was going to be a problem. Right? So the guy that I was talking to in the consultation, no, you are not judging her based on her past experiences. However, it is a problem in your relationship. And so again, Anne Bree, in terms of the prejudging, I think if it's a prejudgment, you're disclosing too soon, right? Again, not the first date, not the second, maybe not even the third, not even probably the first month. Do you need to disclose all of these things? But once you are locked in and you feel safe, I think these things naturally start to come up. Your partner changed after children. I think you have to have a conversation about what's different for them. What is an anxious attachment style? So the attachment theory is this idea that how we form relationships as an adult is based on our relationship with our caregiver in our first few years of life. And so if you have, and so there's tests that you can take. And so it's like anxious, secured, and avoidant. And so with anxious attachment style, typically that means that your guardian was not reliable. And so you are anxious, like, are they still going to be there? Are they going to, like, I don't know if they're going to be there or they're going to show up. And so the way that usually shows up in your adulthood in former relationships is you need to be constantly reassured that you guys are okay. You need to be constantly reassured that the person is still interested. And so for the guy that I was talking about, a few days later, I talked to him on his way home from work, and I think my phone rang, so I'll talk to you later. I never called back because by the time I hung up with my friend, it was late. I went to sleep. I probably fell asleep on the phone with my friend, which is what I do probably almost every day. I woke up to 6 missed phone calls and 2 text messages. Mind you, this is like a Tuesday. We exchanged numbers on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. We went out Sunday. Saturday and Sunday we went out. And then this was like that Tuesday. So not even a week. 5 or 6 missed phone calls and 2 text messages. And the text messages said, "Are you still interested?" And so I tried to ignore that part of the conversation. Like, "Oh, good morning. Like, I'm just waking up. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Why do I have 6 missed phone calls?" And so I just said, "Good morning," you know. He like, "Good morning. Are you still interested?" Like, he kept. "Sir, you called me 6 times because my phone goes on Do Not Disturb at 10 p.m. So my phone didn't even ring when he was calling all those times. So I think it was like 3 calls that night and 2 in the morning. I don't open my eyeballs until like 8 o'clock. So from 10 p.m. until like 8 something, 5 missed phone calls, 2 text messages asking if I'm still interested in less than a week, right? And so what I was like, look, he didn't believe me. He was offended when I told him the first time that he had an anxious attachment style. I don't remember what he did before that for me to tell him that he had anxious attachment style. Because he called me like I was offended. And I'm like, why? It's the truth. And so I was like, this is an example of your anxious attachment style, right? I didn't answer the phone from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. You called me 5 times and left 2 messages with the need to be reassured that I'm still interested. Again, I'm trying to handle it with care. And then he just kept going. And I said, listen, it's not going to work for me. Because it's not going to work for me. Right? I am honest about the capacity that I have. It might work for it will work for somebody else, but not me. I'm not the person that you like, or like he had an issue with. He kept talking so much about the future because we could do this and we could do that. Yeah, he wasn't from here, but he was renting his aunt's house out. He like, yeah, so you could probably just come stay here on the weekends. First of all, he lived far. Like, he worked in DC, but he lived like almost an hour away. Yeah, well, you could just come and stay here on the weekends. Like, I got a whole house to myself. I have a house too. Oh, you do? I do, and it's mine. And so it just was a lot of talk about the future, and I was going to make you marry me chicken, but you don't eat chicken, so I guess I'm going to have to marry me shrimp. You got to relax. Like, that type of stuff makes me uncomfortable. Like, you can't do too much too soon. And like, I expressed it, like, I need you just to relax. Like, but he didn't. If you process some and then interact with that person again later and feel better with them. Halt milk, I'm not following your question. I'm not following. So next, Talia, so you need your next person to either have gone to therapy or at least open to it. So that's my question. Like, if you haven't been, are you open to going? Now, if they say no, that my ears perk up with that. Because everybody may not have had a traumatic experience that has required them to go to therapy already. But I'm cool as long as you open to going. Like, if you tell me you're not willing to go, my ears gonna perk up. Kimberly, so yeah, I'll post somebody asked me to do a EQ after hours, so I'll put this on the after hours playlist. Can the anxious attachment style show up as you constantly thinking that person is going to leave them? Yes. So, and that's what it is. And so, because you constantly think the person is going to leave or break up with you, you need to be constantly reassured that things are okay between you. You don't think you should tell people what they're looking for in a relationship. Ambry, tell me more. Why not? How do you build trust in your decision making now if you used to make wrong decisions? I think you have to understand that you are more mature. Understand that you understand your emotions better. Maybe slow down, right? If it was like a rushing thing, maybe slow down and take time to process what it is that you are feeling. But you just gotta go for it. At some point, you just gotta try stuff out. I think you should sign up for therapy. Actually, all of my clients are also in therapy and work with me. They fake being that until they can. Okay, so I understand what you're saying. So, and that is a good point about telling people exactly what you want and need, and then they fake that. So that is a good point. So the only thing that I would say, I think the things that you should talk about up front are your non-negotiables. So in terms of marriage, kids, like those things that are yes or like either you with it or you not. I think those things you should talk about up front. And I think it's also okay to talk about like, oh, emotional support is big for me. I want my person, right? I'm looking for somebody to travel with and have fun with. That type of stuff they can't really fake. Because if we travel, if we not, you know what I mean? Like, and of course they tell you one thing, but you also have to verify it. But yes, I understand that, that point. I had a friend that she used to like have sticky notes and she had it on her bathroom mirror and she had that experience. So measures to slow yourself down. So yeah, so what you can do is, right, you understand that you like this person. If you need to, have a checklist. All right, what are the things that are most important to you in a relationship and a partner, right? Does he make you, him or her, does this person make you feel safe? Does this person ask about your day? Does this person have the same core values? Do they also believe in the same God? Do they want marriage? Do they want kids? Right? I think sometimes you might have to have an actual checklist, not to show anybody, right? This is just for you, and to put it in your, in your journal, just so that you know. But measures to slow down, I think about the things that you have done that you feel like you shouldn't have done so soon, right? Maybe sex is one of those things, even though I think that's hit or miss, right? I'm not saying that you have to wait, but if you feel like you've had sex too soon in the past, maybe slow down, right? How do you make sure that he deserves you or this person deserves you, right? It's okay that things feel good. Yes, this feels good and you like it, but just still pay attention to make sure that they have all of the things that you want. Now you have to make sure the things that your list is realistic, but yeah. How do you get rid of the feeling my partner is going to leave and needing constant reassurance? So here's the thing. We all need some type of assurance. We all need to feel secure, right? And so there is a level of security and reassurance that is needed by everybody. Okay? And so I think those are the things that you should pay attention to that your partner should do, right? Does your partner compliment you? Do you feel like your partner likes you? Do you feel like your partner loves you? If you guys are having an issue, making sure that we are actually resolving the issue and not just moving past it. Like, what do you want to go eat? Right? Not just sweeping things under the rug. Right? I think these are the things that give you reassurance. If it is more extreme, like you feel like you might have an anxious attachment style, I think one thing you can do is pause and ask yourself, is this a fact or is this a feeling? Like, so using the example that I just gave about the guy that called me 5 times between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. and then ask if I was interested. If he was honest with himself, he would have been honest, like, oh, I don't know if she's interested or not. I would have told him to take a beat. She did not. It was after 10. It might have been after 11 o'clock that he called. But either way, my phone goes on Do Not Disturb at 10 o'clock. So it was at least after 10 o'clock and before 8 o'clock. Is it reasonable that maybe she sleep? Maybe she sleep and just not uninterested. Or when he texted me after I told him my dad was in the hospital, could it be that her dad is really in the hospital? And that she's not using this to ditch me after she literally just agreed to go out with me. Maybe she's not ditching me. I didn't give her a reason to not go out with me in this short window. Maybe her dad really in the hospital. I know she's from Philly. So I think you just have to, if it is the more extreme in terms of your having an anxious attachment style, I think you got to try to reframe your thoughts. And so if you think your feelings are facts, you got to back it up. Ask yourself, what evidence do I have to back this up? What if you're someone that always tries to save people? Does that mean you lack that in your life? So that is going to depend on person to person. I think you have to first understand why you do it. All right. Sometimes you try to save people because you feel like you couldn't save somebody in your past. So you have to understand it more before you can figure out why you do it. Like, you really got to sit with it and understand what the emotions that come along with it and what they're trying to tell you. Did I skip a question? Is being your mother or your girlfriend a thing? Hold it. Is it? You mean like if you're trying to be your partner's mother or girlfriend? Is that what you mean, Nikki? Can a person attachment style change? Yes, it can change. Especially if you have an anxious attachment style, the best type of person for you to be with is secure, not avoidant. And so when you're with a secure person, like, they kind of know this and they will naturally affirm you, and it should help to calm your anxiety. The issue is that anxious people typically get with avoidant people. And so you can imagine anxious and avoidant, how that clashes. And the reason that they are more likely to get together is because they are more likely the ones that are single. People with a secure attachment style are usually in long-term relationships, versus anxious attachment style and avoidance, they usually don't work out. So they're usually more single more often. How can you fix your avoidant attachment? So I think you got to understand what it is that you're afraid of. So if you have an avoidant attachment style, typically being in a relationship makes you feel like you're being smothered, or like you are losing your independence. And that's not always true. I think you have to dig deeper into that. What did that, like, do you actually want to be in a relationship? If you feel like you are losing your freedom and you losing your identity, right? That's something serious. And I think if you can make sure that you are still you, right? Make sure you hold on to your hobbies. Make sure you have a life outside of your person. Again, did this person give you a reason to believe that you are losing your identity? Also, try to find somebody that has a secure attachment style. They won't probably smother you as much or at all. All right, so part of it is a you thing, that you have to change your mindset around relationships. All right, try to find healthy relationships that it doesn't look like, they're pleasant smothering or losing their identity. But also at the same time, think about what would help you still feel like you are holding on to that independence. Have your own hobbies. Have your own set of friends. Have, hang out with your friends twice a month, or, figure out what would help you not feel like that. He faked his feelings for 8 years. I don't know that you can fake your feelings for 8 years. How do you fake? So is it that he had these feelings, and based on something that you said, he was no longer interested? Then I don't think his feelings were fake. I don't know if that's what you're saying, Ambry, that he had feelings and then you said something and then he was no longer interested in a relationship. Is that what you're talking about? It seems like he wants you to be his mother and girlfriend. I think that's the thing. And I think it's up to you to put boundaries in place. What you're willing to do and what you're not. So here's the thing, right? Yes, I am able to answer some of your questions. A lot of times I can't, because it's going to really depend on you. And so this is why I don't really like this platform, because I need to be able to ask more questions so I can really get in your business. But you have to know you, right? As a coach, like if we were working one-on-one, you do most, if not all, of the talking in the sessions, right? I'm here to ask the questions. You have the answers. Somebody asked earlier, when do you let go? They have the answers. You know what to do. You just aren't asking yourself the right questions. But on you, no, I need to move this to Zoom so that I can actually talk to y'all. Can I do multi-guest on here? I don't know how to do, like when they be having all those boxes. How do I do it? Do y'all have to request to join? Oh, I can invite people. But how do I know who wants to join? Like, I don't want to bring somebody up and they don't want to. Okay, so if y'all want to come and talk to me, you can request. I got to go use the ladies' room. I'll be right back. But if you want to, y'all don't have to. Don't feel pressure. But if you feel like you want to. Good night, Cynthia. I'm going to go to the ladies' room. If you want to, go ahead and request it. me see. Did anybody request? Oh, no. Okay, that's fine. We can just keep asking questions. Let me see. What did I miss? Oh, people have to have a certain amount of followers to go live. Okay. This is why I'm just going to move all of this to off of here on Zoom. But let me ask you this, since we're talking about that. So I am going to start my membership community. Like I said, I will still do these lives for free. But there will be like upgrades that you guys can do. So if you join the membership community, in addition to this, we'll do like extra stuff. So we'll do like a group coaching session where you guys can come with whatever issues that you have, and we'll work through them. I will bring in guest people. I won't do the guest people for free because I probably have to pay them. So I will bring in like therapists and other relationship professionals and have them come and teach a class for the community. I'm thinking we could do maybe like a Discord or a WhatsApp group so that we could talk throughout the day. You guys will have access to, like, I've been working on a few courses and replays of other stuff, so you guys will have that. But I need your opinion about the name. So I have been calling different products that I create the perfect partner, right? Perfect meaning having all of the required and desired characteristics, as good as it can get. But I don't know that so that's the name of my podcast, that's the name of my card game. My coaching, like my previous program, everything was the perfect partner. But I don't know that it is self-explanatory, because usually when I say the perfect partner, people are like, oh, it's no such thing as perfect. But I have to tell them, like, if you look at the definition of perfect, it means as good as it can get, having all the required and desired characteristics. And I think that there is a such thing as a perfect partner if you know what it is that you require. And so the perfect partner, so I need to know what name you guys like. The perfect partner, can I put a poll up here? Let me see. I don't know if I could do it while we're already on OE. Oh, no, I can't put it on. But so the names I've been thinking, the perfect partner is the name that I have been using. So the name of my business is actually EQ for Love. So EQ is like emotional intelligence for love, which is the name of my business. So EQ Community. Let me pull up the other names. So hold on, before y'all vote. It was, hold it, what happened to it? What is this? Hold on, what happened to the names I wrote down? Hold on, I'm trying to find them, guys. Hold on, because I just had them. Maybe it's on the other computer. Hold on, let me open up the other computer, because I want y'all feedback. So yeah, EQ for Love Community is one option. I gotta go to the big computer. The perfect partner is another option. Hold on, let me pull up open the computer and get to the other ones. Hold on. It was, what the heck? Why can't I find it? Okay, here it is. So, EQ for Love Community, the Perfect Partner Community, the Connected Partner Collective. I don't like that one. That's too long. The emotionally intelligent partner hub. I don't like that one either. The love and EQ circle. The relationship growth lab. Secure and connected community. I don't like these. Self-aware partner academy. I don't like any of those. So maybe EQ for love. That's the name of the my business. Connected partner collective. Perfect partner community. I don't like any of these. I need to keep working on some other names. The relationship growth lab. The connected partner collective. I don't like that one. It's too long. Secure EQ. You like the EQ for love community? EQ for love is the best one. Right, so not everybody cares about partner, right? So it will probably be, so the actual community will probably be hosted on my website on Kajabi, because I already pay for it. I've looked at Mighty Network and all those other ones, and I don't love them. But yeah, so there will be, at some point, there will be a subscription community. Again, there will still be a free option. But then there will be like, other upgrades. So relationship based. So yes, it will still be relationship based. However, all the work that I do starts with self-awareness. So the community is still, whether you're single or in a relationship. I actually used to only work with single women, but I have now started working with more women in relationships because I've changed my focus to work on communication and conflict resolution, and sometimes they better understand it. I feel like when you're single, sometimes we can only go but so far. We could talk about things, but if you just had an argument yesterday, then, it's usually a little bit more helpful. But yeah, it'll be for both single and in committed relationships. EQ for love is the best one so far. But like go with that or think of some other names. That's why you said Mighty Network. I'll look back into Mighty Networks again, or I'll get my marketing person too. EQ for love community. Okay. I mean, that's the name of my business. I just got my, y'all want to see my new website? My website person just sent, let me show y'all. I haven't showed anybody yet. I need to make some edits, but I'll let y'all see. I know. So this is the new, I don't want to put me on the front. I'm going to find like a couple, but EQ for love, reflect, resolve, reconnect, which is like my coaching method. You can download the free ebook, book a discovery call. I'm probably going to change this because I've had like 10 people book a discovery call in the last 2 weeks. And so I think there's like 3 tomorrow. So that means 7 have already passed and not one of them came. So I'm not offering free consultations anymore. So I'm going to have to change this part. But this will be the space for the community. Service, how emotional intelligence can transform your relationships. Things, I feel like my bob make me look older. I just actually cut my hair into about like a month ago. So EQ for love, our 3-step process: reflect, resolve, and reconnect. Reflecting is where we, figure out your areas of growth. Resolve it is where we talk about the communication and conflict resolution. And then how do you reconnect with intimacy and stuff. And then that's me. So one-on-one coaching in the community. I'm probably going to get rid of, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, more about the community. So my podcast should I change the name of the podcast too to EQ for Love? You want a consultation send me a DM and I'll send you the link so you can schedule a free consultation. But you better show up. So am I changing the name to the podcast too to EQ for Love instead of The Perfect Partner? Yeah, change everything. So the podcast is on YouTube and all streaming platforms. Okay, so change that too. All right. Yeah, so this is what she did. She literally just sent it yesterday. I haven't even looked at the whole thing. One-on-one coaching. Yep, single or in a relationship. So with single women, I actually already have like a coaching program for single women. And so we talk about, what it is what a healthy relationship looks like for you. So you know what to look for in a partner. And we talk about setting yourself up for success when dating. So a lot of times I've found that we wait for the man to do a lot of the things when there are things that you can do to set yourself up or give him the alley-oop so that you can find out quicker whether or not this person, is for you. So yeah, membership community again. Reviews. Oh, this is kind of cute. Oh, she did call it EQ for Love. I didn't know that. Yep. Transformation starts from within. I always love I have a lot of times women come to me for coaching and they want to talk about, well, he did this and he did that. And I'm like, well, we need to talk about you and the part you play in all of this. And I like to see when they ball their face up and get an attitude with me, because you are the only person that you can control. So this is going to be changed because this will be not monthly, but weekly sessions, group coaching sessions, resources. Yeah. She did kind of cute. She did kind of good. Yep. Yeah, she did pretty good. Oh, that's cute. Attorney turned emotional intelligence coach. Oh, look at these pictures. I forgot she asked for these. Am I a little boy? Why is this picture? Neil. Oh, God. Oh, wait. I didn't mean to close out. I don't know if I like all these pictures being on here, because what? Why would she put this picture up there? That's crazy. I used to think I was a little boy, y'all. That's crazy. I don't know if I like that part. That part might gotta come out. Picture is from 92. This is craziness. Oh, I get out of this. Have this personal experience combined with my professional background as an attorney drives my passion for helping others. Okay. Ebook, dating game plan. Yeah, so this is not bad. I got some things to correct, but not bad. Keep like 2 on there. That's crazy. I forgot she even asked. First of all, we've been working on this since like September. So I didn't even remember like what I gave her like to put on the website. But that's crazy. Not me sitting backwards on a potty, because I used to think I was a little boy because I got 2 older brothers. You said it humanized me. Yeah. Maybe a couple of them, but I don't need all those pictures on there. Like, that was crazy. Yeah, that was crazy. Oh, look at me. I know. Yeah, I be trying to clock people tea, and I can't do it as much as I like to with me just talking like this. Like, I like to really get in people's business. They did get on the site. Thank you. Okay, so I'm changing everything to EQ for love. Got it. I got it. What are y'all doing for Valentine's Day? So Valentine's Day is like one of my favorite holidays, and I don't have a Valentine this year. I'm a little bit sad. It's like one of my favorite holidays. I try to outdo my guy and make him feel. I was a tomboy too, real bad. I used to play football and all that. What y'all doing for Valentine's Day? You single? Oh, me too. So my wine friends want to go to a wine tasting on that Saturday. I might go with them. I might go with them.
Recording stopped.
You taking yourself out? Good. Where you going? You going to dinner? You want to get your nails done? What you going to do? My friends want to go to a wine tasting. I'll probably go with them. You having a big back Friday? What does a big back Friday consist of? I wish I had a Valentine. I had my eye on somebody, but we haven't talked much, so I can't ask him to be my Valentine because I'm a sugar mama on the low and I can't do too much too soon. You want to have a Valentine's Day session? Okay, what day is Valentine's Day on? Valentine's Day is on a Friday. So you want to have the session on a Friday? Let me look at the calendar. What I do? Why you saying bye to me? Valentine's Day is on a Friday. So y'all want to do it on a Friday? We got to do it on Zoom though because I need y'all to talk back to me. I can't. Oh, happy early birthday. What you doing for your birthday? What country you going to, Talia? I was just saying I feel like I need to go to the beach. I am a sugar mama. I am for sure. I don't have a roster. So listen, I'm just sharing experiences from different people. People really only be around for like 2 weeks. Like, I don't keep people around for long at all. Like, once I realize that this ain't it for me, like, my peace out game is real strong. I don't be liking people. So the fact that I have my eye on this one person is like very strange. But then he's been busy. So you're going to Uganda. I've never been there. Uganda. Your friend lives in Uganda? Let me see. Where is Uganda? I gotta look it up. What part? I was supposed to go. Oh, it's next to Kenya and Rwanda. Okay. That's gonna be fun. Yes, the wine is out. You're from Germany. I am drinking a Tanat today, which is originally from Argentina, but I got this wine when I was in France somewhere last year. Yes, you got to learn to stop keeping them around. Like, meeting people, like, it's an experience. Like, meet people, go out, date. But the minute you realize, like, this ain't it, y'all not vibing, y'all not kikiing and laughing the whole time, I'm good. Because the quicker you get him out the way, the quicker you can find the right person. Like, I'm quick. Oh, no, thank you. I'm not interested. I'm good for that. You want to go out again? No, thank you. I'm not into wasting people's time. Yeah, I like to not. I usually drink Italian wines, but I I didn't have anything Italian downstairs. So tonight it is. I opened this bottle yesterday. Yeah, I tend to drink some. I think I have some pretty good taste in wine. It's like one of my biggest hobbies. Why do you attract those type of people? What type of people? I don't think I attract a certain type. I think people be different. I just don't be liking them. And why do I attract people I don't like? Because I don't make sure that I'm in a room with people that I know that I will like. That has been something that I have not been doing a good job of because I work from home. I'm in the house all the time. And so I have just been meeting people either. Like, I even downloaded a dating app, y'all. And I don't even like dating apps. Or, like, just being out with other, like, being at a friend's house. But it's not. I need to go back. I need, like, not a very successful guy. I need somebody that has a vision for their life. Nikki, where do you live? Yeah, I don't like the dating app. Like, it just... people don't know how to have regular conversations. Like, I got sick of people. Like, one guy, I was like, oh, how are you? And he sent me back like 4 paragraphs. I'm not reading it. I'm not talking about what he looking for and what he needed. Relax. Just have a conversation. Like, have a conversation. Like, you don't got to give me your whole bio and we ain't even make it off the app yet. West Palm Beach, Florida. How far is that from, like, Ruskin and Orlando, Tampa? Like, I don't like when people don't interrogate me. Oh, you 4 hours away. Okay. Yes, just have a regular conversation. And so I actually made a card game. So I made 2, one for dating, one for couples. And so the dating one is like questions to like figure out if you are compatible. And I be wanting to just tell everybody, like, just buy it, because these questions that you asking me, like, relax, just have, things are going to come up in conversation. Just talk. Like, don't ask me a bunch of questions. That guy that I said had an anxious attachment style. I think I told y'all this last week. If you was here, within like 30 minutes of having he just kept asking me a bunch of questions, and a lot of them was sexual, and I'm like, I don't want to answer these questions. And he like, why? I'm like, they're premature. Like, it's a pretty presumptuous of you to think that I definitely want to have sex with you. Like, you gotta relax. Like, you gotta chill. Like, I kept saying, I didn't say it like that, but like I kept trying to, sidestep the question. Like, he's like, oh, what's your love language? Physical touch. Well, what kind of touch? Touch my butt. Like, what? Physical touch. And I'm like, I don't know. So now I'm trying to avoid the question because, sir, I just met you. I just gave you my number 30 minutes ago, and you asking a whole lot of questions. And he like, oh, well, mine's is physical touch too. I like everything but my booty hole. And so now, because you keep asking me questions, I'm like, oh, you should try it. You might like it. And he like, I ain't gonna hold you though. Like, my ex wanted to try. I was kind of curious. Sir, I don't even know your last name at this point. Like, what? And this is exactly why I made this card game. Let me see if I've been packing up, so I don't know if I have. Let me see if I got it. I'm like, this is exactly why. Oh, I do have one. All right, this is exactly why. So I got a couples version and a dating version. Like, I'm like, so now I'm being smart. Like, oh, you should try it. You might like it. Not you curious. Why? You shouldn't have told me that. You shouldn't have told me that, because what? But yeah, so let me give y'all some of the questions from here. And so all of these is like not, you don't have to ask like them all at the first question, but because like he just kept asking questions, like relax. Let me see what some of my favorite questions are. What memory do you replay in your mind the most? Kind of give you, and can you drink with that one? Good night, Nikki. Thanks for joining. Do you consider yourself successful? Why or why not? Do you want to get married? I feel like that's a very important question. Can you give me what I need in a relationship? That's important, but you got to know what it is that you need. That's what I had asked the guy when he asked me, and I said I need emotional support, and he said he's not gonna let me cry. That was the question I had asked him. What's your favorite thing about me? When's the last time I made you smile? What's your dream job? I think that's important because I can't be in a relationship with somebody that hate their job every day. You're gonna be miserable every day. That's not gonna work out for me. I need you to do something that you love. So these are still on my old site. If you go to erinfdarden.com, they're on there. They're also on a TikTok shop, I think. It's called The Perfect Partner. Is it backwards for you? Do you want more children or do you want children? I think that's important. Do you like to travel? I had some guy tell me he don't like to travel. He only wants to stay in DC. Oh. Deal breaker for me. I spent a month in Europe last year. You don't want to travel? That's not going to work. Do you pray? It's a lot of questions. It's 50 questions in here? What's your preferred method of communication? Text, FaceTime, in person, phone? Do you believe in therapy? We just talked about that earlier today, didn't we, y'all? I think that was Talia that said your person got to go to therapy. Do you believe in therapy? That's why it's in here. What type of relationship are you open to? I think this is an important one too, because you need to know if they just want to have fun and you want to be married. You can't stand talking on the phone. What, you want to text? Oh no, you can't text me to death because I need to understand. I need to hear you. I actually prefer FaceTime. I need to look at you in your face. You don't want to talk on the phone? How you going to get to know them? Text just leaves so many things up to misinterpretation. And you're not about to text me to death. After a while, I'm over it. Because there's some things I need to hear how you say stuff. Like communication involves a whole lot and not just me imply. With text message, you can imply and infer a whole lot. But I need to talk to you. But this one, what types of relationship are you open to? So the reason I like this one, because I think sometimes we like to ask, what are you looking for? Or what do you want with me? And they might not know enough about you to know what they want from you yet. But when you ask what type of relationships are you open to, you can figure out, okay, do we both want marriage? Or is this person just looking for fun while you're looking for marriage, and then you know not to waste your time? So I feel that's why I like that question better than what are we doing or what do you want from me type of thing. This is another good one. At this point, do you have an expectation of exclusivity? Screw a title, in my opinion. I need to know if we exclusive or not. And until we are, I'm going to continue to date multiple people. But that's just me. Yes, text for minor stuff. Yep. Will you raise your children the way you were raised or differently? How do you know when you're stressed? If you could change, this is a good one. We were talking about like childhood traumas. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be? that's usually going to disclose a lot. And again, these are not things that you have to talk about first conversation. There are some lighter ones in here, but what did you learn from your last relationship? What makes you feel loved? If everything is ideal, what does your life look like in 5 years? What's the nature of your relationship with your co-parent and your children? Because, Lord, if you don't talk to your kids, we got a problem. I think you should. It's 50 questions, so I got a dating version and I got a couples. I don't have a couples one open about having difficult conversations. But I think it just helps, especially with people that don't know how to, don't know what questions to ask, or, get tired of the what's your favorite color like me. So are we doing a Valentine's Day? If we do, we got to do it on, so the cards, they are on TikTok Shop and they're on my website, erinfdarden.com, my old one. I just showed you the new one, but they should still be on the old one. I don't know how to, hold on. Let me pin it. Now, don't go clicking on a bunch of stuff on that old website because it probably doesn't work. Like, people have been going on there. I don't even know how they found it because I don't have that. Why couldn't I pin it? It said I couldn't pin it. I don't even have my old website linked in my bio because I know that the new one was getting worked on, and people somehow still found it and was like clicking on stuff, and I'm like, you want these resources? This is not set up anymore because I've been waiting for the new one. But the cards should still be up there, and I'll get it. Or they're also on the TikTok Shop. You're mid-30 and just hit the cusp of getting past difficult questions. So here's the thing, and here's what I tell my clients when I work with single people. I need to know the information as soon as possible. I don't want to wait months and months and months to realize that you got something going on that I'm not willing to deal with. And so I have my certain questions that I am going to ask any and everybody up front. I don't care how difficult they are. I need to know these things so I know if I need to peace out or not. And so, in another way that I like to do it, sometimes if I don't feel like it is as comfortable asking, what I will do is, or if it's something that I want to, the other way around, if I want to tell somebody something about me, I will ask them first, and then naturally they will say, oh, well, what about you? Okay, bring a favorite wine. So we probably going to do this on Zoom, so make sure y'all are on, because I don't like this just talking to myself, unless y'all can request to join the multi-person. I don't know, but I feel like we should do it on Zoom. What y'all think? If we do it on Zoom, we can actually talk to each other. We can see each other and just Zoom. Okay. So make sure you guys are on the email list. I pay for Zoom. Yes. Yep. I pay for Zoom. Okay. So Valentine's Day, we'll have, I used to call it Conversations with Coach E. That's what I used to call it. Yep. So the link is in my bio. Click on the link in my bio. Click open. It's the first one to join the list. And then I'll make sure that I will send out the calendar invite and you guys can join. What time should we do it? I'll leave it up to y'all. So there's a link to get on the email list. There's a link in my bio. Click the link on the bio and then click open and it'll be the first one. I do everything in Eastern Standard Time. I'm in the DC area. Yep, I'm Eastern Time. Same time as class, so 8 o'clock? 8 p.m. Eastern, so what's that, 7 Central? 7 or 8. So how about I start at 7 my time, and then y'all could just join in whenever you want. Okay. So I'll set it for 7 p.m. Eastern time. So you want to do 6 or 7? What time is it in East Africa? I don't even know. How far ahead is East Africa? In East, I don't even know what time. It's 7:40 a.m. Jesus Christ. What's that, 8 hours ahead? Ooh. Maybe I could do more than one. If y'all 8 hours ahead, if I start at 12 o'clock, if I start at 12, it'll be 8 p.m. your time in East Africa. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I would have to do one during the day. I mean, if it's enough of y'all that's going to show up, I'm open to it. I mean, I work from home. I'm always looking for a reason not to do any work. I hate the other work that I do. I truly hate it. But I can see who shows up to 12 o'clock and 7 o'clock. We could do that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't mind. It's almost midnight. I gotta go take my Bentley outside. I will see you guys next Thursday. And then I'll remind you. Well, I'll see you at both then, Talia. I will see you guys next week, and then I'll remind you again about the Valentine's Day. Why don't you like it? Why don't I like what? What did I say I don't like? Noriko, what did I say I don't like? The job. I don't enjoy being an attorney. Oh, look, I didn't even remember what I said that fast. I don't enjoy being an attorney. This is why I have quit multiple times. I've quit a lot of times. Yeah, I don't enjoy it. Yeah. You guys are welcome. I will see you next Thursday and next Friday. I will post the reflection question on Sunday for next week. And I will see you guys in class next week. Have a good night.